What is going on, everybody? Nine here, and my voice is finally back, which is great. Um, so we haven't done this for a little bit over a month, so I want to go through Scarlet by the booster box and ETB price tracking. Obviously, ETBs for the specialty sets, booster boxes for the main sets, because the underlying price action of these sets is very, very strong. Now, the liquidity's ticked up a lot, primarily because of Black Friday sales on TCG Player. But let's walk through it. So SV base, and again, I kind of deleted September, October here. We're just showing November versus December, and then we go back to May and July, which are kind of two different worlds. So SV base is basically flat in the last month and down $5 since July. And the sales have ticked up to about 4 for the last 30 days. So again, this is 120 of these boxes that sold in the last month. Again, a lot of it was around the Cyber weekend sale for TCG Player, but either way, they've sold. Paldea Evolved. This thing is a little on the soft side, down to 351. Now, what's interesting is there's a handful of no-name, almost no feedback sellers that have undercut this down to 351. I think there's like 3 or 4 boxes, and then it's back to the high 300s. It's probably an opportunity to pick some of this up. But again, it's still up $11 since July. Obsidian Flames sitting right at $290, up $60 since July. This and Stellar Crown have the least amount moving, quite honestly, because it is fully valued related to the set. There's just not a whole lot of room to go, at least at this point in time, relative to the rest of these sets. Paradox Rift up to $240. Keeps moving. Up $30 since July. This is now smoothed out the entire buyout. I like the set at $240 with it rotating out. I still think it's going to be a $300 box, if not a little bit more once we rotate out in April. Temporal Forces, $265, still $265. There is so little supply of this out there. 3 selling per day, up $27 since July. So what you're seeing here is every single one of these boxes is flat if you look at SV base, or up fairly substantially since July. And it's July, 5 months. This is quite good performance, especially considering we're using the data point, which is right now where things are a little bit on the soft side. So moving on, Stellar Crown, down to 255. It's still up astronomically. And Surging Sparks at 257. This continues to be held down by reprints, up $13 since July. Now that we're at the 1-year anniversary of when I sold Surging Sparks for $175, I think, when the market was like $210. I spun all that into Stellar Crown. I paid between $90 and $97 a box. So since then, obviously I've liquidated a lot of the Stellar Crown. Stellar Crown is up about $160 a box since then. And Surging Sparks is up, call it $75, $80. So it just goes to show you that YouTube is a double-edged sword. You have the positive is anybody, regardless of resume or education or what have you, can post a video and they can convince people that their opinion is right. On the negative, you have folks that have no qualifications, no education, being able to have a platform to get their opinion heard. And it's nothing against any of these folks. It's just you have to be skeptical about folks saying, well, this set's garbage and this person's a fucking idiot because he sold boxes at $175. Because ultimately, it was the right move. And it doesn't matter what people say. It all comes down to the results at the end of the day. And I'm personally thrilled with that transaction. It's springboarded a lot of what we have going on. So it is what it is. Journey together. As much as people bash this set, you're still sitting at $240 a box, 7 a day moving, and it's still up $15. I mean, you're right around where it was at release day. Not terrible. Destined Rivals up to $415. This box continues to zoom up $120 since July, 11 selling per day. Mega Evolutions 1 down to $232. This is probably about where it's going to sit for a while. Phantasmal 250. There is a second wave coming that started to deliver late last week. So these are going to come down as well a little bit. But we go back to the cumulative sales and the average value of sales. $6,000 per day back in November. Now you're at almost $11,000. Again, this is skewed fairly significantly from the Black Friday sale. But what I want to point out is with the Black Friday sale, your sales volume, your gross dollars of sales volume is almost the same as what it was back in July with no holiday. Because I don't think May Day was included in that. I think it had just fallen off. As I'm looking at these, the May Day sale it would have, because this is 30 days. Never mind. And again, this is only counting through Journey Together. It doesn't include Destin because you have release ramp down and things like that. So moving to the specialty sets, 151. Again, you have a couple idiot no-name sellers selling this for $340, $350. And then you're back up at $370, $380, up $75 since July. I think people are skittish there's going to be a reprint of 151 ETBs before it rotates out. I don't think it's going to happen. I've heard nothing of the like. Now I have gotten confirmation and allocations of 151 tins. Mini tins are coming out, but that's all I've seen so far. And I mean, look, we have 4 months to go. So who knows? Plus we have all the 30th anniversary hoopla and this and that. I have a hard time believing that there's going to be a massive amount of 151 coming out at this point. And I heard somebody the other day say, well, they're still reprinting after 2 years. Well, 2 years that data point is worthless. The rotation date is a date that they rotate out of play. That is what the parameters are for effectively what we've seen historically for them to stop printing product. But again, there's always stuff coming out after the fact. I mean, there was some Crown Zenith coming out just the other day. That's not because they're printing it. It's because they have it somewhere in storage. So Paldean Fates, 250, 4 per day. Shrouded Fable just hanging out there at 81. The most value set remaining on the market at $81. 3 selling per day. Prismatic down to 120. I guess there's been rumors that there's more ETBs coming to big box stores, which wouldn't surprise me at all. 25 moving a day, but this thing has been unbelievably resilient. I think it may have touched $90 at one point in time at the height of the big box dump. Any downward pressure again is probably a buying opportunity for these. Because again, as we saw with 151, once you get past the first year, the reprints tend to slow down because they have to focus printing on other things. Now, this time it could be different. Famous last words. But I don't think it's going to be. Black Bold 89, White Flare 82. Not great sets. We'll see what happens next year. We did get some minor supply of this on TCG Player, and it looks like there's an EX box coming out in February or March or April of 2026. But quite honestly, with the price point on this, I'm not sure there's any need for this to come out. It's kind of a ho-hum set. So anyway, guys, I think the most important takeaway here is over the last 5 months, every single product, other than the ones that have just released, are up. And some of them are up pretty substantially. So when it comes to listening to the echo chamber of everything's crashing and singles this and singles that, all you have to do is buy the old shit that's readily available. When it rotates out, you're safe. When it's getting close to rotating out, the risk is significantly less than, throwing $100,000 on Phantasmal Flames right now. Stick to what works. And 100% of the time, these boxes go up over the long term. And, pick your poison. SV1 through 4.5, they're going to rotate out soon. And we're probably looking at a 40+% move between now and April, May, June of next year. Use it to your advantage. So anyway, guys, have a good night, and we'll talk later.